I took a night security job at an abandoned hospital. I never believed in ghosts. At least, not until I took the night security job at St. Mercy Hospital. The place had been abandoned for almost 15 years. Officially, it closed because of budget cuts. Unofficially, nobody seemed willing to tell me. I was 26, broke, and behind on rent. When an agency offered me triple the normal security rate for overnight shifts, I accepted immediately. The manager sounded relieved, almost desperate. "You'll be alone," he said. "Fine. The cameras work. Good. And whatever happens," he paused, "follow the rules exactly." I laughed. I thought he was joking. He wasn't. On my first night, I arrived at 10 p.m. The building sat at the edge of town like a giant concrete corpse. Broken windows, dark hallways, peeling paint. The kind of place horror movies tell you never to enter. Inside, I met the previous guard. An older guy named Frank. He looked exhausted, like he hadn't slept in days. Before leaving, he handed me a folded sheet of paper. "Read it." I opened it. The title read, Asterisk, asterisk, night security rules, asterisk, asterisk. 1. Patrol every floor at midnight. 2. Ignore sounds from operating room 3. 3. If a patient asks for help, do not answer. 4. If you see a nurse pushing an empty wheelchair after 2 a.m., hide immediately. 5. Never enter the basement. 6. If the intercom announces your name, leave the building before sunrise. 7. Do not look out the east wing windows at exactly 3:13 a.m. I laughed. Frank didn't. His face remained completely serious. Good luck. Then he left. The first few hours were normal. Boring, even. I watched security monitors, checked hallways, drank coffee. Nothing unusual happened. Midnight arrived. I began my patrol. The hospital felt larger than it looked. Every hallway seemed endless. Every room echoed. When I reached the surgery wing, I heard something. Metal scraping. Coming from operating room 3. Rule number 2. Ignore it. I kept walking. The scraping continued. Then it became knocking. 3 slow knocks, followed by another 3, then another, like something wanted attention. I walked faster. At 1:20 a.m. I returned to the security office. The cameras flickered. Static flashed across several screens. For a split second, I saw someone standing in a hallway. A patient. Hospital gown. Bare feet. Pale skin. I checked the camera again. Nothing. Gone. I convinced myself it was interference. Until the office door opened. Slowly. A woman stood outside. Thin. Motionless. Wearing a hospital gown. My stomach dropped. Rule number 3. If a patient asks for help, do not answer. The woman stared at me, then smiled. Can you help me find my room? Every instinct screamed at me to respond. Instead, I remained silent. The woman's smile vanished instantly. Her eyes darkened. Her head tilted unnaturally. Far too far. Like bones snapping. Then she walked away. I didn't leave the office for 20 minutes. At exactly 2:04 a.m., I heard wheels squeaking. Somewhere nearby, a slow rhythmic sound. Squeak, squeak, squeak. I froze. Rule number 4. I checked the hallway camera. A nurse was pushing a wheelchair. An empty wheelchair. She moved slowly down the corridor. Head lowered. Face hidden. The wheelchair rolled by itself. No patient. Nothing inside. Just darkness. Then the nurse stopped. Her head turned toward the camera. Toward me. Even though she shouldn't have known where I was. I immediately crawled beneath the desk. Heart hammering. The squeaking grew louder. Closer. Outside the office. The door creaked open. Silence. Then breathing. Slow. Wet. Right above me. Something stood inside the room. I could see pale feet. The squeaking stopped. For nearly 5 minutes. Nothing moved. Nothing spoke. Finally, the wheels began moving again. Slowly fading away. I stayed hidden another 10 minutes. At 2:47 a.m. the intercom activated. A burst of static echoed through the building. Then a voice. Security Officer Michael. I nearly fainted. That was my name. Rule number 6. If the intercom announces your name, leave before sunrise. The problem. The voice continued. Security Officer Michael. Basement level. Static. Then silence. I grabbed my keys. I was leaving. Rules were rules. I wasn't staying. But before I reached the exit, every light in the hospital shut off. Complete darkness. The emergency backup lights activated. Red lights. The entire hospital glowed crimson. Every hallway looked soaked in blood. Then the elevators began moving. By themselves. Up. Down. Up. Down. The floor indicators flashed wildly. I backed away. The elevator doors opened. Inside stood a little girl. She couldn't have been older than 8. White dress. Long black hair. Head lowered. I remembered something Frank told me before leaving. One thing he said after handing over the rules. If you see a child, he swallowed. Pray she doesn't notice you. The girl slowly lifted her head and smiled. Then she ran. Not toward me. Toward the staircase. Faster than any human child should move. Gone within seconds. The lights flickered again. The intercom returned. Security Officer Michael. Static. She's awake. I sprinted toward the exit. The front doors wouldn't open. I slammed against them. Locked. I tried every key. Nothing worked. Behind me, footsteps echoed. Hundreds of footsteps. Coming from every hallway. Every floor. Every direction. The cameras showed movement everywhere. Patients. Doctors. Nurses. Crowding the halls. Watching. Waiting. Then the clock hit 3:13 a.m. I accidentally looked toward the east wing windows. Rule 7. Never look out the east wing windows at exactly 3:13 a.m. I wish I hadn't. Outside stood thousands of people. Not walking. Not moving. Just standing. Perfectly still. All staring directly at the hospital. Every one of them smiling. their faces stretched unnaturally wide, their eyes completely black, and among them stood the little girl. She pointed toward me. Then every figure outside pointed too. At the exact same moment, the glass exploded. Every east wing window shattered simultaneously. The building shook. Alarms activated. Patients on the monitors began moving faster, running toward my location. I bolted. No plan, no destination, just running. I ended up near the basement stairs. The place Frank specifically warned me about. The door stood open. Darkness beyond. From inside came a voice. My mother's voice. Impossible. She'd been dead for years. Michael. I froze. The voice sounded perfect. Exactly like her. Help me. Tears filled my eyes. I nearly stepped inside. Then I remembered. Every rule existed for a reason. I backed away. The voice changed instantly, becoming deeper, angrier. Something slammed against the basement door from within, hard enough to bend steel. I ran. By 4 a.m., the hospital had become chaos. Monitors showed figures standing behind me. But whenever I turned around, nobody was there. Doors opened and closed alone. Shadowy shapes crossed hallways. Whispers echoed through the walls. One phrase repeated constantly. Stay until sunrise. At first it sounded harmless. Then I realized the rules never said I had to stay. Something else wanted me trapped. Around 5:30 a.m., the sky began brightening. The activity slowed. The whispers faded. The patients disappeared. The nurse vanished. The little girl never returned. At exactly 6:01 a.m., the front doors unlocked. I practically threw myself outside. Fresh air never felt so good. When I reported everything to the agency, they weren't surprised. Not even slightly. The manager simply sighed. How many rules did you break? 1. The window. I nodded. He looked concerned. Very concerned. Most guards don't survive that. I quit immediately. The money wasn't worth it. Nothing was. Months passed. life returned to normal. Or so I thought. Then one night, I woke at exactly 3:13 a.m. My bedroom felt freezing cold. Outside my window stood a little girl. White dress, long black hair, smiling. She slowly raised one finger and pointed directly at me, just like she had at the hospital. Then she whispered something. Even through the glass, I heard it clearly. A single sentence. The same sentence the intercom announced before everything went wrong. She's awake. The next morning, I checked the news. St. Mercy Hospital had burned down overnight. The entire building reduced to ashes. Officials called it an electrical fire. No survivors were reported. But one photograph taken before the collapse showed something strange. Standing in a fourth-floor window was a little girl, watching the firefighters, smiling, and pointing directly at the camera. Asterisk, I haven't slept through the night since, asterisk.